Hello everyone and welcome to another AltSignals video. Today we're going to be discussing how to do leverage trading on the Binance platform. So first of all, let's go to a few areas on where we want to be using leverage trading. So if you can see here, I'm currently on the overview wallet, and you can see you've got your fiat and spot, cross margin, isolated margin, USD M futures, coin M futures. So USD M futures is your futures or leverage trading wallet. As you can see, there's USD tether in there, and coin M futures is essentially the same thing, but you're trading with a particular coin like Bitcoin. So to get to the futures trading platform, what you want to do is make your way up to derivatives, and as you can see here, we have USD futures. So if you click on that, this will take you to the setup. As you can see, it's pretty similar to the spot market. There's a few different areas. So what we will do is we'll cover the left sided area here first. So as you can see, we're currently on the BTC USDT perpetual. Now you can put in here Cardano. As you can see now, ADA USDT perpetual. You can change it via volume, so what's been traded the most there. You can just put in 24-hour change in percentages. Let's say maybe you want to work with DOT, and again the same thing. So then you can see here DOT USDT perpetual. Make sure as well that you're looking at the USDT. As you can see, there's .USD, .USD quarterly, .USD quarterly with, and there's a few options on different particular coins that you look at as well. So ETH, another example. ETH, yeah, ETH USDT perpetual, same again. So that is where you find your particular coin pairs that you want to work with. Now let's move on to the margin area. So this here gives you two options depending on which mode that you want to trade in. So you've got cross margin, isolated margin. So cross margin essentially allows you to trade with your full balance that you have in your account, whereas isolated margin allows you to trade with a particular amount that you set when you place your trade. So let's say, for example, I'm on cross margin and I place a trade and I've got $100 in my wallet. That will allow me to have a bigger buffer zone in terms of the liquidation price. However, if it hits that liquidation price, it will take my full balance that I have in my wallet. Whereas isolated margin, let's say I only trade with $50 of my wallet, of my $100, and I get liquidated, I would only lose the $50 that I had initially invested, and the $50 in my wallet would still be there. So if you're a beginner, I'd recommend sort of working with isolated first. The next area is as you can see here, the leverage adjuster. So this isn't on all coin pairs, so all USDT pairs, and also the leverage is dependent on which coin you use. So as you can see here, the leverage is up to 125x. Okay, but if we was to go to say ADA or Cardano, you can see that it only goes to 75x. This is because, again, some of these coins are more volatile than others, so the likelihood of you getting stopped out or liquidated is a lot higher, and some coins have no leverage available on there as well. So the leverage, how it works: so if you have $100 in your account, in your wallet, and you can see here we're on 10x, so my $100 would be technically $1,000, and if I went to 100x, then my $100 would be at 10,000. That's how it would work. The difference between the leverage is that the leverage at 10x would allow me for a wider liquidation point. Whereas if I was up to 100x, that would basically lower my liquidation price. So for instance, as well, the way this works is if I'm on $100 and I'm on 10x leverage with $100, that means I'm trading with $1,000. So a 1% move on the chart, so let's say I go for a long and there is a 1% move, that would mean that is because of the leverage, that's a 10% move. So I would gain 10% of the margin that I put up. So if I use my full $100 on a trade and was leveraging at $1,000, I would get 1% of that $1,000. However, it works on the basis that you would lose the same way as well. So for instance, it moves 1% and I've basically longed the position and it goes down by 1%, I would lose 10% of that balance, of my balance, and that's how it would work. So as you can see, that is exactly how it would be, and it's the same for if I had 100x leverage. So now the potential gain would be the same. I use $100, it moves 1%, technically that's 100% move, and the same way if it goes down, that's how that would work. So I wouldn't really go use leverage as best you can. Obviously we provide options for you guys to use leverage, but also when you're choosing your coin pair, make sure that you check that both options are set for isolated and whatever margin leverage you want to use. Over here we've got the funding countdown. So basically the payment rate, here's the timer, time left until the next funding. So this is sort of like for the market makers essentially. And then you can see the 24-hour change on Bitcoin, and the 24-hour high, 24-hour low, how much Bitcoin has been traded in BTC, and also how much Bitcoin has been traded in USDT. Obviously this is the chart as it is. This is the trading view chart. You can change obviously from 15 minutes to the hour. You'll obviously have to kind of make sure that you're setting everything up right for yourself to look through. You can still obviously use the tools as you would do in trading view, so you can create different types of setups on here, so you can do the same thing on here as you can with trading view. Then we have the order book. So these are the orders that are currently sat pending to be executed, or let's call them open orders, that will eventually be positions. And down here are the trades that are coming through on the market, so which positions are being hit. Okay, let's move on to this area. So this place order is probably the most important bit for you as a trader. So let's just start with the features here. So you've got different types of orders that you can place. You have the wallet, how much money you have in your wallet, and how you can, what will happen is when if you haven't done Binance Futures before, this area will be kind of grayed out, and it'll have a button that you need to press to create an account and to transfer funds. Once you've accepted the terms and you've created the account, you can come up to here where the wallet is and click on these two little arrows. This will allow you to transfer money from your spot wallet that you initially deposited to trade, and you can select your USD Futures wallet and what coin that you want to transfer over. So if you have bought USD Tether and it's in your spot wallet, you would come to this area to make sure you're on USD. You can only be on USD Futures, and then select the amount or type the amount in that you want to transfer. Once it's done, you'll see it show up straight away. There are no charges to transfer the money over as well. Here you have a calculator, which is very powerful for you as a beginner, because you can kind of test different leverage positions and also liquidation prices and kind of look at that area. So as an example, let's say I want to look at 10x leverage on a price of 55,000 and I'm long in the position. So let's say 57,000 is my exit price, and because we are working with 10x leverage, you can see here it'll tell you the initial margin that you need to put up. So we don't have that amount of money in the account, so then let's say we do 0.01. Now you can see that's the margin that we use. So $55 USDT would come out of the account. My P&L, so what I would gain from that initial investment, and you can see here return on equity as well, 36.36%. You can also do this with shorts, and you can see what you would lose, obviously the same way, but if you were betting the other way and you wanted to see how much you lose, that's a straightforward thing as well. You can also change your leverage to 100, let's say, and now you can see how it's only saying I need an initial investment of 550. So I'm not having to use as much as my capital as the previous trade. However, the liquidation price would be a lot closer to my initial entry point. Again, so I could then change this to 0.1, and then again it'll give me an idea of how much will be taken out of my wallet for the margin and what initial P&L I would get in return. So let's use this as an example. So 55,000, exit price 57,000, and 0.01. So we can come to the liquidation price, set it up as you want. So that was a long at 100x. The entry price was 55,000. We said 0.01 Bitcoin, 0.1 Bitcoin. So now you can see my liquidation price is at 54,252. However, if we was to go down to 10%, obviously we wouldn't be able to get the same quantity in BTC because of the obviously the margin that we have of $96, so 0.01 in this case. And then you can see here how already that liquidation price has dropped dramatically, nearly pretty much 10,000 almost. So the point to make here, as you can see, that the lower leverage trading that you do, the longer you can almost keep your trades running. So if you're not looking for short, fast in and out trades, and you're not day trading, you're kind of trading for a couple of days, your trades are open for a couple of days or even a week, using lower leverage will help that. If you're trading in and out and you want faster trades and you want to be able to earn money fast but also work with the high risk, then you can also do that as an option there. Those are the two areas I would focus on. The others I wouldn't really bother with. The main ones that I use and most people use are the P&L and liquidation price calculator as well. So that's how you do your funds. That's the calculator. Now let's move on to some of these areas here. So we have price. So this is currently we're on limit order. So what you would do here is that you would input your price of where you would like to enter your trade and what size you would like to purchase in terms of your trade as well. Then we have a little section here, TP, SL. This is take profit, stop loss. So you can set these within your trade before you execute that. Then we've got buy long, sell short. So this is where you would click on either button depending on where you think the market is going. Your margin ratio. So this kind of gives you an idea on your the margin on your current trade. And then here you can just see down at the bottom, you can buy crypto, convert, transfer. So again, you could click here and this would do the same thing in terms of transferring to your wallet. You can see your balance, current unrealized P&L, and that's just the Binance coin. But these areas here are good for when you're in your trade. You can kind of see overall what that is. So let's look at the limit and market orders. So a limit order allows you to set a trade that you want to get in at. So let's say currently the market is at 55,000. So I think the market is going to be at 54,000, and let's say I just want to use my full balance in this. So you can see now I've added the price and then I've set my size to 100% of my balance. That allows me to purchase 0.01 Bitcoin, and then you can see here down at the bottom the cost for either long or short. So let's say I think that when it hits 54,000 it's going to go up. It's already kind of played around at 54.7, so I think that that's what's going to happen. But I also want to set a take profit and stop loss. So you can click on the take profit stop loss, and in here I would say, let's say if it hits 54,000, I reckon it'll go to 56,000. Okay, and what I want to do is also set a stop loss so that if it hits 54,000 but still keeps going down and I don't want to get liquidated, I can input say 53,000. And that is all set now. So when I click buy long, this will put my order on the books essentially. So if we click buy long, now you can see order submitted, and then if we come to this section here, this is where you can find your current positions, open orders, your order history, trade history, transaction history, and assets. So if we go to open orders now, my order that I've just set is in place and will be executed and become a position at 54,000. So as you can see here, the type, limit, the symbol BTC USDT perpetual, what side are we, buy long or sell short, we're on the buy, what price I'm going to buy at, the amount I'm going to buy at that price, and if it's been filled yet. As you can see, there's nothing there. We also have a little few things here: reduce only, post only, trigger conditions, and then TPSL. So you can see if I click view, this opens up my overall trade. So as you can see, this is the open position or the open order on the books. So hits 54,000, purchase 0.017 Bitcoin. I will sell for profit at 56,000, and I will sell to stop my losses at 53,000, and that is essentially a take profit and stop loss in place along with a limit order. Let's say you want to change that order, you can essentially just come over here to click cancel, and that will cancel the order completely, and you can then be in a position to set that order again. Now if we look at market order, the same can be applied. So let's say for instance you receive a signal, or you want to jump straight into a trade. With the market order, it essentially will execute the order straight away at the current market price. So we'll set that 10% of my balance. As you can see here, currently everything's in place. So if I click buy long now, my order is now a position. So it's also got a stop market and take profit market order. They're open, so if it hits 55,000, it's going to stop me out and sell my current amount. Same here, take profit at 56,000, as you can see here. And if we look at positions now, we can see a few different things. So we have an entry price, so that's the price that we got in at, what the current mark price is. So as you can see, 55,571, and I got in at 55,87. So technically I'm down, I'm in the negative. You can see now here as well we have a liquidation price. So currently my liquidation price is at 50k, and what my margin ratio is of 4%, and what is at risk at the moment. So $5.57 are at risk at this current moment, and as you can see, it's isolated, so it's only that balance there. So if we come over here now, you can see that it shows my current balance and then unrealized P&L. And if we look at the top, the amount has left my wallet and is now sat in this trade. So if I was to close this trade now, I would see that money come back into my account, either less or more depending on if I'm in a winning trade or a losing trade. A few other things here, so you can see I can change these areas. So if I want to market close, that means close at the current market price. Limit, so I could limit, so say if it hits this price, then place close that trade, and that's how that works. You can also come over here and see TPSL. This time you can edit it though, because we're in an open position. What this allows you to do is kind of look at what you would make both ways. So I said 56,000, I'm going to make 41 cents, but this is a small trade, so that would show depending on your current order size. And then 55 is my stop, so 59 cents. So that's my profit and that's my loss, and that's how that works. Obviously you have to make sure you take into account fees. So when you run a market order, the fee, you will be paying more fees than if you place a limit order, so keep that in mind when you're trading as well. As you can see now, if we just look again, you can see we are entry price 55,587, and the current mark price is dropping, so we've already nearly dropped to $100 in terms of the market price. And if we come across here now, you can see minus 1.93, but we're only at 0.1. And the reason why it shows it that way is because we're using 10x leverage, so that's 10 times the overall current percentage move. So it's only moved 0.1%. That has an effect on the actual market from the loss and the gain as well. So if we scroll down here now, the unrealized P&L is minus 0.11. So that's currently what's lost at the moment. So let's say I'm not happy with this trade, I want to get out, I'm losing money. I could just click close all positions, or click market, and it'll close that with fees on top. And obviously now you can see the margin balance along with the maintenance margin as well. So that is how you place a market order and how you place a limit order. So we've gone through all the different things, and also you can check your trade history as well. So you can see currently what trade that you've had in. You can look at your orders as well. That's pretty good. And you can see now how we are in the green. And again, this is based on the mark price. So what I could do now is, it's dropped again, but let's say now I want to just mark it. I can do that. The trade has completed, and now if we look at order history, you can see here the overall process there. So we can look at the transaction history, and then you can see in terms of what was here, so what we paid commission and what we lost in money. So 2 cents, 3 cents, and 2 cents again, either way. And these are higher depending on how large your trade is as well. So that is Binance Futures. If you have any questions, please reach out to us on Telegram, via email, and if you have any other videos that you would like us to do on any specific areas, please let us know, and we'll see you in the next video.